Hey, my future Black healthcare providers. My name is Sanpree. I am a physical therapist. I'm also a lactation consultant. I have been a physical therapist for approximately 20 years, or it'll be 20 years in August that I graduated from PT school and then started my journey as a physical therapist by moving all the way up to Charlotte to a place I didn't know anyone, and I got recruited by a hospital system here, and I've been in the Charlotte area ever since. Well, this is going to be a series of installments, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to do about 3 of these for the students, about how to navigate and survive therapy school. Now, I'm just going to speak from my perspective, and I don't know if my perspective is worth a lot because it's been quite a while since I've been in school, but I've had students along the way. My last student was probably a couple of years ago, and I just want to first talk about finding your tribe in therapy school. So, I'm not sure how big the therapy classes are now. I know they're a lot more bigger these days. I went to University of Central Florida, and at the time, my class was only about 20. We started off with 23, and I think we ended up with 22, which is not bad, that graduated with us. But the one that didn't graduate, oh no, we started out with 23. I think we ended up with 21. The 2 gentlemen that didn't graduate, they ended up going and finishing the next year and passing their boards as well. And what I loved about my class, what I loved about going there, and was that we had such a diverse class. If I don't know if anybody's ever been to UCF or currently a student at UCF, but in the health and science building, we called it like the Wall of Fame, and every physical therapy class has their pictures up on the wall. And so up until our class, I think the classes before us may have had like one black person, and the rest, everybody was like white. But our class had probably the most black people. We had Hispanics. We had, I think, one was Cuban, one was Mexican, one was Puerto Rican. We had a girl from India, and we had a guy from Russia who was a doctor in Russia, and then he ended up coming to PT school. And we had a girl from the Bahamas. And it was just such a diverse class. You just got so many perspectives. And that's why and a lot of us are still in contact with each other today, which I think is really cool. And since we're coming up on our 20th anniversary, I hope that somehow, somewhere, we will manage to get together, because it is just mind-blowing how time flies. But anyway, so let me tell you about finding your tribe. Now, we all got along pretty well, I will say. But I really did connect with the black ladies that were in my class. And and it was like one white girl who was a twin, and we always just called her twin. But we would study together, and what I loved about it is that we were just so serious. We had a routine. We were going to study on this day for this time, and we connected. We just got along really great. We laughed, we worried, I cried, so they were my tribe for as long as I was in therapy school. And you really want to find somebody that you can lean on. Somebody that you trust, somebody that you know is dependable and that will hold you accountable, and make sure that you study like you should. You show up for study groups as you should. You want to make sure that you have a solid tribe or a solid person that's going to make sure that you get what you need to get done so you can get the heck out of there. I will also say that one of the things that benefited me, because this was I was in grad school. I was broke still, because when you're in therapy school, it's a full-time job. They say you're not supposed to work while you're in therapy school, but I held down two jobs at one point while I was going to school full-time, working two little part-time jobs. One was at like Sally Beauty Supply, which was kind of like a fun job that I worked a couple of times a week. And then the other one was at the local hospital, which was invaluable. And I'll probably tell you about that in another installment. But anyway, so I was broke, okay? I had roommates. I lived in a off-campus apartment, which was right across from the school, which was convenient because UCF had a bus system, so I didn't have to travel far with my car unless I was going to work, and everything was pretty convenient to us. We had a grocery store and everything like that. I didn't really have to go very far unless I was going to work. But there was a lady who worked in the office. Her name was Miss Farida. Miss Farida, she was from one of the islands in the Caribbean. I just fell in love with her from the moment I met her. And she looked out for me tremendously. There were times when I couldn't afford to get the textbooks right away. So they had their own little library of books in the office. She let me borrow the books for a semester or two if I needed them until I could afford to buy my own. She was just always checking on me, making sure I was hanging in there. She just really believed in me, and she believed in all of the black students, which I love. But, I just feel like I just had this special bond with her. She probably had bonds with everybody else, but I felt special because of her, and I was just so grateful for her being in the office when she was. I don't think I would have made it as far as I did if it hadn't have been for her being in the place that she was in that office and ensuring that I was taken care of. Unfortunately, a few years ago, found out that Miss Verita had passed away, but the lovely thing about her is that she had a life well lived. She was able to retire. She was able to enjoy her retirement, and she died doing things that she loved. And so I was just really grateful to hear that she was able to enjoy her life after UCF. And I'm so thankful for people like her that were just specifically placed in my life at times when I needed them the most. So if you are going to PT school, or any other therapy schools, I just want to just encourage you, because I know, it's competitive. I know in some areas you may be the only, and you might feel like you're alone, but there's always somebody. It doesn't have to be anybody related to your major. Like, my roommates held me accountable too, and they were doing different majors. It doesn't have to be somebody that is in class with you, although it helps because they know the struggle. But you want to have a solid person that's going to hold you accountable, that's going to root for you, and that's going to tell you to keep going even when you want to stop. Because there were times when I wanted to stop. I wasn't sure that I should be a physical therapist, but I was like, I made it this far. I got to keep on pushing. So this is the first of 3 installments. Next time, I think I will talk about how to form good study habits. And you might think I'm crazy when I tell you some of the stuff that I did, but for me it worked. You just kind of have to find what works for you. All right, it was good talking to you guys. Bye bye.